Alright, let me do a general video where we talk about songwriting and ghostwriting. Now, they are two different things. Now, this video is not to disrespect or shade anybody who gets song written, and which is mostly R&B artists usually. Or let me say more so you would think. But this is more so to music fans and things of that nature who get the two so confused. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's such a big thing to write your own music, which it is. Like, let's be clear, only songwriters matter. Only the writers matter. But there's this thing where the lines are so blurred to where an artist who you know has song written for 20 years can get a song written by somebody else. And the fans will be like, oh, well, now we can't trust anything they did before, knowing that they was already fired or some type of shit like that. All right, so let's just break it down to two definitions. We have songwriting and we have ghostwriting. Songwriting, your song is written. You can look at the writing credits. The person will have like 15 fucking people on one song. You know what I mean? It's a lot of that going on these days, especially when it comes to rap and things like that. That wasn't how it used to be. But that songwriting, that's not technically a ghost. Like, there's ghostwriters out there who you really don't even know the person wrote it. You won't see them in the song credits or whatever. This person will have a whole career, and then you'll find out 5 years in that they had a whole different writer. You'll wonder why their flow switched up. That's happened before with a few millionaire rappers that y'all know. Where you'll be like, oh shit, and you realize the whole time you thought they was lit. You could check the writing credits, their names is not there, but you'll find out there was totally separate people involved who actually were writing their music for years. Those are ghostwriters. If an artist who was already, known to be a lyrical fucking demon, decides, hey, this person, I'm gonna allow these extra influences to come in and write a song, then that's their prerogative. Would I generally ever do it? Probably never. But that's their prerogative to do that. For example, and I'll give the main example because this is the main one I'm noticing that's irritating me, that fans are getting fucked up, and that'll be, I'll say, Foxy. Foxy is one of the illest MCs, period, male or female. And that's something that was just known, I'm talking about before things. I think the fans only know her from when, Jay or Nas put their influences in or wrote whatever they wrote. But that's where they getting the shit twisted. That wasn't a ghostwriting situation. That wasn't it's just coming out now that they just, no. Foxy's been out loud and spoken about this, like, boom, this happened, this happened, this happened. Broken Silence is all of her. Her features are her. Like, all of that's her. She's still getting her royalties off of that other stuff. Okay, so anything that people have to say about that is just the people who don't do their research or they get songwriting and ghostwriting mixed up. That was song written. Like, if I already know I'm spitting ill, or let me put myself in the example. I'm one of the illest that I know. I am the illest lyricist that I know personally, as far as a person who has not made it. If I allow Nas or anybody else to write a song for me, I'm using them as a songwriter. I'm paying them. They're going to be on my song credits. You'll see whatever you can see or whatever. But let's be very clear that, like, nobody's fucking with me regardless if they write that song for me or not. That's the difference in these motherfuckers who really need writers, whose career was built off writers. Their mixtapes, when they came out, had writers. They're known for writing and usually sucking the dick of the person who wrote their song if they're female, or if they're male, possibly sucking dick too. But if they're male, let's be clear, a lot of the males do it too, but they don't get called out as much. It's usually the females. Like, a lot of these people will make a list of like their top 20 rappers or their top 20 artists or whoever comes out. And when you speak about songwriters and ghostwriters, and the first thing you hear is like these female names, and it's almost like it's not public knowledge to the fans that these males have writers. Like, it's not even stuff you really have to, like, this is not a conspiracy theory. You could just look into, like, this is public knowledge. When you look into the records, some of them are bold. They're not technically, like, they're hiding the person. They won't ever say it. They'll try to act like in interviews it's them. But if you look at the writing credits, you'll be like, all right, that can't just be you if there's 20 people on the song. Like, I see if it's 1, 2 people, that's like, oh, they did the chorus. You can get away with that one. But y'all be having, like, it'd be like 20 people on the song. Okay, at that point, that's not their song, right? And that's most of the men. But they don't ever get called out for it. If anything, you'll just mention, I can post any TBT from a man's freestyle, and it's like, oh man, he was ill, he been ill, da 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 da. Whole time had ghostwriters. Whole time had songwriters. Whole time had a million different people hands in for a song that wasn't even that lyrically challenged enough to need as many people on the song. But let me post up a single freestyle by Foxy back in the day before you even know the influence that you knew was on it. And niggas is like, yeah, but I don't know, cause I heard Nas wrote the, oh, I don't know, cause I heard Jay put his info, oh, I don't know. That's where niggas is getting it fucked up. You're talking about a person who none of y'all is fucking with, male or female. None of y'all coming up, none of y'all fans could never dream to fuck with, cause y'all not making songs anyway. And you're taking credit from the people who actually put that heart in. Like, that shit is a serious thing. To sit down and write a song and to flow the way we flow and to make that shit immaculate, it takes some skill. It's not something that just anybody and their mother could do. That's why I take the shit so serious when I say only writers matter. So yes, when I say only writers matter, I'm talking about Foxy Brown. I'm talking about Emil. I'm talking about Nicki Minaj. I'm talking about all of those different writers who actually write their music. If you do not write your music, or if you are known for having a million different of the men in your crew write for you, or and again, this is talking about male and female, because these men be in these groups or whatever, and it'll be the most popular one, and that's how it'll be. You'll think, oh, like, oh, well, he just put his boys on, and all his boys turned out to be fire. And lo and behold, no, it's usually the one who popped first is really writing the songs for most of the rest of the crew. He's going in, they might try to put their little bit of extra in there, but he's going in the studio, adding the touches in and making sure it goes collectively with their label sound or whatever. Like, and let's be clear, even some of the greats who we know, right, have even come out on interviews like Drink Champs and things of that nature, where they actually have talked about, yo, hey, we be in the studio before, and then whatever it is, what it is. My homeboy said, yo, you should say this like this, I'm gonna say this like that. Like, and these are coming from legend. And if as a lyricist I bring another writer in, you'll check a writer credit. For example, one of the main songs, oh, I forget the name of the song so much, but by Nicki, she has a song, Esther Dean does the chorus or whatever. So when you check the writing credits, you're gonna see Esther Dean, you're gonna see Onika Mirage, like, you're gonna see, like, these are things you guys can check. That makes sense. That's not the same as when you check these motherfuckers who's coming out now, these bitches who's coming out now, these niggas who's coming out now, and you check their track listings and their writers credits, and we're talking about 15 to 20 fucking white people, number one, talking about murdering and killing. They never shot shit, never held a gun. And they're coming in our culture and just doing whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Whatever the fuck they know to say, because they learned by now how to say our things. Like, there's two different ways of lines in those two different things. There's songwriting and then there's ghostwriting. Now, I offer both. It's such a different thing that I literally charge pretty much double and have different clauses when it comes to ghostwriting than songwriting. Because I know the waves of ghostwriting and how that could go. If I ghostwrite for you, I'm not making you give me no credit. I'm not making you pretty much list me on anything, which means you can go on for your career like a lot of these men and a lot of these women do, where they're just like, oh, well, that's my song, have the nerve to do interviews like my song, whole time, like for the first 5 years of their career. It's totally someone else writing this shit. Like, so I'm gonna charge people double for that, because I already know that you can literally make a life of its own out of my words. When you sit down and let your pen push, that is something different that's coming from that person. It don't even feel the same when I know I'm listening to an R&B singer, which is the main ones who have songwriters. And, you know, I like their songs, but they will never hit as much as the R&B singers who used to write their songs and sing their songs. It'll never hit as much as that, because I don't believe you. That's not their words, because it can't be their words, because they don't know how to piece the words together. Like, that's the difference of somebody who needs writers and who does not need writers. Somebody does a song for somebody who you know is a fucking icon, who can fucking freestyle off the dome crazy. I'm not taking nothing from that person. They decided to have somebody write a piece for them. You're still not fucking with them. Like, that shit is a huge difference than somebody who came out, male or female. But let's talk about, if we want to talk about the females who came out, you know they're known for sucking dick of somebody who was around them at the time. And then suddenly they're just fired out of nowhere. No one knew them for rapping growing up. They wasn't writing. Like, all the ones who I'm talking about when I say only writers matter, especially with the females, they're known from, I'm talking about 12 and 13 years old, from actually pushing their pen. They're known as little girls as having raps on the street, and everybody knew they kind of played around with music. Versus motherfuckers who's coming fresh out of whatever they come out of, fresh out of working from Target, fresh out of the strip club, fresh out of anywhere. and all of a sudden you think they got flow. That's not how the shit go. Like that's really not how the shit go. Anybody who usually have flow, whether they just got in the studio one day and found out like a lot of hood niggas do, somehow, some way, even playing around on the block, people knew that if they had a cipher, they would still have enough flow to play around. Those are not the people we're talking about. We're talking about people that needed people to be like, yo, you need to say this. You need to say this like that. You need to say this like that. Like, those motherfuckers need writers. They will need writers in the beginning of the career, and they will need writers the entirety of their career. That's just how that goes. That's a whole different ball game than somebody who you know, any legend that you want to take, for example, any of them. Let's take somebody who's passed away so it doesn't seem like it's a disrespect to anybody living. But if you take Biggie, if Biggie decided one day that he wanted somebody around him to just do a quick verse for him on a freestyle mixtape, nothing crazy, not a real record, that's still not taken away from the fact that he's one of the illest. Like, y'all, like, people's getting the shit fucked up. Like, and it is such a thin line, so I understand it. But there's a difference in somebody who needs a writer and who doesn't. And then there's a difference in songwriter and ghostwriter. People who need writers, they need songwriters, they need ghostwriters, they need a prayer, they need everything they can possibly get. Because if somebody suddenly decides, if the label comes to them and says, oh, we're not writing no more songs for you, or whatever, we I don't know, we had a budget problem, we cut all the writers, so you're gonna have to do this next album by yourself. Oh man, they'd be scouring the fucking hood for writers, scouring the fucking earth for writers, trying to pay people on the low for writers, because they couldn't write a single good verse that flows 100% with a gun to their fucking head. That's the difference in somebody who needs a writer and who does not need a writer. If somebody who does not need a writer just decides, hey, whatever. Again, these are things you can research in interviews where legends have even come on like, yeah, I've been in the studio before. Oh, what's his name? Gave me that bar. Actually, that wasn't even my bar. That's not taken away from the fact that you know this person has been one of the illest lyricists for the past like 10 fucking years, and they just decided to take that influence in. Then that's their prerogative. Again, personally, would I do it? No. But that's their prerogative. That's not taking nothing from that person. But these motherfuckers who actually come out, you know, like this is known fact, that they just came out of nowhere and they get any type of credit. Like, nah, they get no type of credit. Like, they literally get no type of credit because they need all the credits. They need as many writing credits as they can get. They need as many songwriting credits. They need as many ghostwriting credits because they could not make a verse if there was a gun to their head. Like, that's just something they couldn't do. Versus somebody who you know, and then, again, because a lot of these, it kills me too when the up and coming rappers who are still underground too, if you mention Foxy or you mention somebody else and they'll really have the nerve to like mention influences that she openly allowed when they can't even rap that fucking tough. I think that kills me the most. It's like, you can't even rap like that. And you're talking about legends that decided to do whatever they decided to do. That makes no fucking sense. Like, these niggas that couldn't even fuck with me, and you're talking about legends. Like, niggas that couldn't fuck with you with a latex condom on, and these are the same motherfuckers that niggas is really talking about, like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm gonna believe because back in 1991, I heard that this person wrote this one song. Get the fuck out of here. And this person was already known for being outside in the streets since, like, 85 or some shit like that. Anybody, for example, who was, of course, older, who was just known for already being out on the street and spitting. Well, known for doing that completely well. There is a complete disconnect in the songwriting and ghostwriting in that aspect where people really get the game fucked up. So when I say only writers matter, yeah, to be honest, I'm talking about people who generally don't need songwriters or ghostwriters. They don't need anybody else. It's different once you get in the industry. You'll have certain people do choruses and things of that nature, but your actual verse, in my opinion, and this is in my personal prerogative, it should be done by yourself. But then you do have, other people who like these extra influences. And personally, I just don't agree with that. There was an interview, a Dream Champs interview a couple years ago when Dream Champs had first started. It was one of their first interviews. And I think Ja has said, like, he likes hip-hop going into that direction of having songwriters because it makes it a real genre. And I might be misquoting that, but it was just basically said it makes it more like the other genres of a sort. Which personally, I don't fuck with that. Because I like the thing that's different about our genre versus pop versus rock versus all them other things is it's us. People can say whatever they want to say about our music. It's about money. It's about drugs. It's about whatever. It's us. You're not going to tell me what's going on in my brain. This is what's going on in my brain. I didn't need 10, 12, generally, usually most of the writers, if you look them up, we're talking about like mostly Caucasian people at a table trying to tell me what the fuck I know about the hood. They can't tell me that. They can't tell me that. They can't even come close to telling me that. They good at fabricating it and making it, and that's where these new people that come out, they get over, because they have these people who kind of know generally what we generally talk about. And then the person just comes in and adds their little ratchet nonsense, and it makes it seem like it's theirs. But it's just all like, it's all of that is bullshit. You shouldn't need that. It should be able to be you. That's what makes hip-hop different than these other genres. It's you. If you need a person that to make you a smash hit, if you need a person to make you a smash hit versus you got people who coming out, you got the Nickies, you got all these people who coming out, and you're telling me they're able to write complete songs by themselves. Not every song even has people help with the chorus. We're talking about people that can make complete songs by themselves and still get Billboard top, still breaking #1, still breaking records. And you're telling me you think that you have they have the same amount of credibility as the person who literally had 20 people on a song just to get that same placement? No, that's not how that goes. That's not how that goes. If you don't write your songs, you know what I mean, you lose points in my eyes. It doesn't matter. Both of the songs could go platinum, but the person who wrote it all themselves versus the person who had help and multiple extra influences for their entire career, or even for that song, I mean, there's just no credit in it. And that comes with anything. That comes with even the people I'm talking about. If I'm saying like, oh, they allow extra influences on a certain song and they were open about it, okay, that's fine. So let's just, if you want to talk about songwriting and stuff, then I just won't consider those songs. If I have to actually judge, to be fair, I won't consider those songs. What I will consider is the songs that I know that they did by themselves, the songs that they were doing beforehand, the songs they were doing for years before anybody ever has these inklings, these openly public knowledge inklings of anything that fucking happened. And again, this is more so to the fans, because they get the shit so twisted. It's like, you say anything about songwriting and they really get the two confused with like who needs writers or who doesn't. Like, I think because they get kind of defensive if I talk about only writers matter or whatever, and then I post up somebody, which usually isn't even many people that they possibly even heard about that might have had extra influences, like Foxy, for example. They just get happy and they get antsy and real defensive, and it's like, well, I heard Nas help her with like, they just need something to say against me saying only writers matter, because they know I'm dissing the rest of the people that they do like, who really need fucking writers. So then they say it as a defense mechanism when it doesn't hold weight. It kind of just basically shows that they didn't even do half of their homework on this person. For you to sit there and dare say that anybody did not put their heart into something on this earth, I don't care what it is, music, fucking snowboarding, fucking, I don't know, race car driving, like anything, and for you to say that that person didn't do their heart, you better have some research. You better have went back and saw interviews of the person you did think right it, where they actually say they did that shit. Like, you better have some research. You better have inklings. You better be able to look up. You better be on Reddit looking at forums. You better dig so deep that you start hitting crates of stuff from fucking MTV Raps. Like, I swear to God, you better go back and really have your ducks in a row for you to say some shit like that. So when I say only writers matter, and then I give examples of names, which I won't mention, because they don't deserve any credit in my eyes ever, for people who come out now and people who have come out in the 90s, who do not write and are not never known for writing their music. When I talk about them, this is because I did my research. This is because, especially if they come from New York, I probably know, like, personally know who actually used to write their songs when they first came out. I'm talking about their first mixtape, their first whatever, that made them so-called known. Like that. Like, there's battle rappers who actually have battles filmed, documented. We're talking about, you know what I mean? And I'm talking about the biggest leagues. I ain't talking about y'all little ass leagues. We talking about URL. We talking about Queen of the Ring. The top male, the top female leagues. And people have actually, like, full battles out with all these views. And because, you know, a lot of them is mostly New York bred, it's like, oh, I know who wrote that battle. Like you know who wrote this battle. Like, it's enough to where, so when I talk about only writers matter, like, these are the things that are in the back of my head, because I know who doesn't matter. I know who needs writers. You could tell by how they come out. Excuse me. You could tell by how they come out if they need writers. Most people don't count in my eyes. Like, they get no type of shine in my eyes. Like, you need writers. Not somebody you know is iller than a single soul that you have personally ever met in your life, and they decide to add an influence into their song. No. We're talking about people who need writers. Different things. But when I mention only writers matter, you get so defensive where you try to bring up any fucking nook and cranny that you know whole time, the people that you really like, the people you won't mention, who you like, who you think, just because you haven't heard anything, you equate that to they must be writing themselves. That's not enough. That's not enough. Just because you haven't heard anything, you need to dig into their beginning and their upbringing, who discovered them, because those are the people who you're going to hear. So when you go back for Nicki, for example, and you look at who discovered them, we're talking about Full Force. These are grown men now that are probably older than my father, okay? And these are men who have been out, I mean, for the past, they had Nicki before Deb, and they've been coming out, like, to give it exact examples, like, no. Like, Jewel's, even Jewel's at one point was supposed to write a song for her. She was like, no. No, she would not. If she could not do the song herself, she just wasn't interested. Like, these are people, like, do your research of when people came out. Who discovered them when they came out? What was going on when they were coming out? So you can have the homework, you have the history of that person that'll let you know how they pushed their pen. When you got Foxy, when you got a mill, and you find out, like, oh, who was really in high school spitting? In high school, in middle school, who was really known for that? So then when they come out, it holds more weight. You really can't say nothing against these people who already, their name is already ringing bells. Versus these motherfuckers that come out the blue. And y'all will really just say nothing about them. Shut the fuck up. Y'all don't rap and y'all don't know what's going on in this. That's why I'm doing a video to try to help and bring some type of clarity to it. For the people who do rap, that makes it even sadder. If you are in music and this video was any bit of enlightening to you, that's scary. That's real fucking scary that you even would agree with any of the sentiments, or you didn't know this happened and you didn't know this is how this was as far as what's actually songwriting and what's actually ghostwriting. And that's scary to me, because that means you just out here not even knowing your history about some shit that you into. Like, you know worse than the mumble rappers who come out here and try to act like they don't know a single Biggie verse. Like, that's just as bad. If you are a rapper and you have anything negative to say about Foxy, anything negative to say about Nicki, anything negative to say about any of the female, again, I have to say mostly the female names, because the men who out here and really have ghostwriters, they don't get put on blast as much. So I'm going to use the females because that's what y'all relate to. Those are the ones y'all have the balls to speak on the most. You have no right to ever say anything about those people I named. And a slew of others who literally you could just do your research. These are things that you could do your research off of YouTube alone. Shout out to YouTube. YouTube alone, you could do your research and go back interviews I'm talking about for when these people were damn near just able to get into the club at 21. Like, you can go do your research and listen to the interviews of them and everybody who was around them musically and who discovered them at that moment, and listen to them talk about the creativity. It will always come out. For the ones who write and the ones I'm naming, everybody around them at some point was like, that person was a monster, that person is a beast, that person is nothing to fuck with, male or female. These are the ones I'm talking about when I say only writers matter. But yet, you have everybody has this mouth to say that about anybody else if I mention those names. But in your cars, you'll blast on the radio, you'll blast the radio, no problem, listening to these new bitches coming out that absolutely need writers. These new men who come out, who absolutely need writers. Again, most of the men y'all listen to need writers. Got a whole person in the hood who's really writing for them and y'all really think it's their songs. Anyway, need writers. And nobody says a word. You're just driving down the street, right? That's your song, right? But I say only writers matter. You're like, well, we don't know because we heard back in 96. Shut the fuck up. Like, niggas really have no type of inkling of what really goes on. I'm trying to give a little bit of insight, but the saddest thing is I know some people still not going to get it. Like, they're still not going to get it. I'm just going to forever, you even mention a single female or anything to do with rap, and people will blur the lines, and the ones who need the writers, who don't need the writers, and who publicly accepted influences versus the ones who hide it. And in an interview, I mean, you'll never get them to admit it. You could just be like, well, who helped you with that song? Like, if you literally put them in every interview, I swear to God, it would just be the most hilarious thing ever. You put any of these new artists in a interview, put them on blast, and be on some, pull up the writing credits of a song. They got 20 writers, and just be like, Samantha James, Bobby whoever, you know what I mean? This person. You just literally go down names of 15 people. All those people helped you? How was that process of writing that music? Their faces would just be like, or they'd try to brush it off like, oh, well, I was just, they had little ad-libs and stuff. Oh, nigga, that's not your fucking song. That's what happened. That's not the same as these motherfuckers. You check a track list and you might see one person and the other person. That's usually, if it's industry, that means that the person usually did the chorus. And that's usually the case, is that you could have 2 to 3 people on a chorus once you've made it mainstream. That's just something that's public knowledge. But these motherfuckers who really need writers, people are really thinking that they're in the same class as people who are known beasts, allowing influences for a few songs. Like, they think that adds up. That you can talk about them the same. The person that bleeds. The person that, like, bleeds for this shit. The person that acapella, no fucking warning, could spit a fucking 40-bar freestyle off the dome and drag you. These are the people we're talking about, and you think that they compare to a person who absolutely, positively needs a writer to get that done. Y'all are out y'all fucking mind. Y'all gotta relax. Does this person have the ability to write a song by themselves? And that's a good question. That's what the ones that you like and you bump in your car cannot do. They don't have the ability to. If somebody had their fucking child in a noose, they would literally and tell them, you have to write a 40-bar freestyle that flows and is on point, matching the same flows you've done in the past. Could you do that? And they could not do that, and their child would get hung. There is a difference there. So when I say only writers matter, I'm talking about people who can write an entire album by themselves. Not your faves. It's usually not your faves. And I understand that's why people get defensive and they want to bring up if they heard or they possibly heard that a legend had, oh, well, this person helped with this person. Oh, this person. Out of the 50,000 verses they did with their career, they're going to name like 4 verses. Oh, my God, I heard this person helped with this person. Blah, blah, blah. They get in their car and they put on a song by somebody whose entire album got like 60 people collectively on it. These are the fans who think they have any credibility to talk about anything when it comes to songwriting and ghostwriting. Y'all are out y'all fucking minds. I don't even like the fact that I even felt the need to have to do this, because it gets out of pocket now, where like the fucking the cheek. Shout out to anybody in Britain. I've been watching too many British shows, but like the audacity, the cheek of fans to really sit in and have the nerve to fix their mouth for legends. When number one, they can never make a song if they had a gun to their head that actually matches up. And we're not talking about just these honky-donkey songs. We're talking about real fucking lyricism. I'm talking about triple metaphors, which I love to do. We're talking about everything in your song meaning a million different things and flowing ridiculously and nobody being able to catch your flow. Can never do that. Could never do that. Whether they rap or not, probably could never. Even the ones who rap, they could never do that. And they're bold enough to speak on these legends. Baffles me. But they'll let their daughters sit here and listen to these new bitches who come out, who, I mean, literally, like, just kick them into a hole 300 style. Like, these bitches is just fucking goofies. And again, let me always add in the men, but these men is bitches too. The men as well. If you really knew how many of these men out here who make these songs, just that no one questions the men. It's like no one cares if the men really write or not these days, which is corny to me. But if it's the female or whatever, that's why it's so hard. And I like tell females, like any female I know getting into rapping, I'm be like, as dope as you are, like I already know they're dope. And I'm like, bro, as dope as you are, I don't care if somebody even try to give you a single line, don't do it. Because we're not the men. You can't get away with the men and these legends, like I said, doing interviews now and they're coming out like, yeah, another icon, insert name. Oh, this person told me to say that. They can get away with that and nobody will take it from them. As a female, we barely get away with, even if we write it all ourselves, we're still not considered up to par with the men. And that's just me talking as a woman. Me talking as a rapper, I don't really have those problems personally because I rap like a nigga. But for a female, just me, I am a woman, so I'm going to talk and like speak on behalf that I am aware of the problems that the female has in this industry, where you can't ever just let a man give you the same influences that the next man will get, because if it comes out that they gave you those influences, they will never forget it for your entire career. They'll never forget it your entire career. Whether it's a verse or a bar, they will never forget it if you say a single man helped you. They'll never forget it for us. So that's why I think it's so personal for me to point it out when you have a female who is the one of the fucking best. All these females who are the fucking best. And I'm talking the best out of men, women, aliens, anybody. Okay? Within our little Milky Way. the fucking best, and you have the nerve to dare speak on things that they publicly said and came out and said, yeah, but me and so worked on that. They publicly, these are not ghostwriters. They publicly out as this person helped me with this album. But this second album is all me. And this third album is all me. And it's like, that is like the thing. It's like, y'all really don't get it. And I really think another point of it is y'all really don't care to get it. Because y'all don't care to do the research. But my whole thing is, if you don't give a fuck, then don't speak up when I'm talking about writers. If you truly don't care enough to do your research, then don't speak up when I'm talking about writers. How dare you? I just truly hope, and I kind of hope it gets back to the point where it's not as saturated with people who need writers, because that's where it's at this point. That's why I feel the need to make hashtag only writers matter and things of that nature. And then when I post that, some fan who doesn't know diddly fucking squat about hip hop or rap, okay, and you're talking about a hip hop head, so I'm not the one to come forward with it. I'm talking about a person who don't know diddly squat about rap. From the very birth of hip-hop, no diddly squat about it. These people have the nerve to then say something about the legends who have publicly come out and say, oh, this person did the chorus, this person did a verse on that, this person did a verse on that, even though they were already ill and fucking iconic for years before that and known. Their name was ringing bells. The fans will think that's valid enough to bring them up when I say only writers matter. For people who have the ability to wrap circles around you until the day that you die. They can literally just keep rapping until you, like, literally take your last breath. I don't know what's in y'all heads. I don't know what goes on. I don't know the new shit that goes on. Again, personally, if you are a person that's coming out in this shit and you need writers, you're fucking trash. I don't wish you any well in your career if you need writers. If you're fake gangbanging, you're a mascot, what I call them. Mascot, and you really wouldn't die for nobody who's around you. I mean, really take a bullet. You wouldn't sit in a cell for 20, 25 years of life for somebody that's around you, but you claiming gang, you're fucking trash. I wish you no well in your career. Anybody who's just fraudulent, I wish them zero well in their career. And when I say only writers matter, I'm disrespecting them. I'm disrespecting them. I'm disrespecting the ones who need writers. I'm disrespecting the mascots. I'm disrespecting all of that. So don't bring up the legends. Don't bring up the ones who deserve their fucking spot. The ones that you couldn't fuck with if you could rap. And the ones who do rap, you can't fuck with. You still can't fuck with. You can't fuck with me. You're talking about you fucking with legends. Get the fuck out of here. That's my thing. Relax. Like, relax. People get a little bit too above themselves when it comes to this artistry. And that's what it is. It is artistry. Stop fucking talking to an artist about artistry. Save that for another fan's page. I'm an artist. When you rap better than me, then you come talk to me. Nah, this shit's really nasty. 100%. Like, I don't even know how to, like, it's just disgusting work how the fans think these days, and these so-called fans. They're not like the original fans. They don't really even care to do the research. They're just talking. They just cluck, 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 like they want to hit a beat. Like the top beat hit the bottom beat. Just cluck, 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 cluck. No real research. Don't know shit about the early days of hip-hop. Minus who the fuck they like when they was like 5 years old. They know nothing about the real, I'm talking about when these labels first started. They know nothing about the real history of hip-hop. How the songwriters even work at the fucking labels. How the ghostwriters even work. Like, they know nothing about nothing. And have the nerve to speak on the page of somebody who goes out their way to do the research. And who has grown up doing the research. And I'm young. If I can do the research and then y'all be motherfuckers older than me, motherfuckers be over 25. I'm not over 25 yet. Motherfuckers be over 25. And don't do the research and then have the nerves to cluck, 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 cluck. Y'all is birds. Y'all is birds, and I don't respect it. There's a difference in people who need writers and don't need writers, and there's a difference in songwriting and ghostwriting. All four of them are completely different. Somebody who does not need a writer can still have a songwriter on their writing credits. Have that person help with a chorus. Decide to have that person with a verse. Again, personally, do I agree with it for myself? No. But they could do that. And they're still a legend in their right. And still one of the illest songwriters you ever known. Versus people who you know come out and they need writers. They literally need writers. If they had to make an album and they got locked in the studio by themselves, the shit would be so trash. You literally have to take their phone away because they'd be scrambling trying to contact people to hurry up and try to get somebody to write for them. Because they couldn't do it by themselves. higher than it is, because now y'all are like losing your minds and just getting the audacity, the fucking cheek to talk about people who do not need writers and think that they mesh into the conversation with people who actually need writers, and you're out your fucking noggins. You're out. Y'all have lost your minds, thoroughly lost your fucking minds, bringing up people who do not need writers in the mix. Yes, it fucking matters. Only writers matter. The rest of these niggas, these mascots, these people who don't really do music, they do not matter. I don't know if y'all needed somebody young to say that. They don't matter. It's not something that just only old heads. I'm not over 25 yet. Guess what? They don't matter. If you're not really into this shit, if you want to talk about guns and all this shit, you really better be talking about that. And your name better be known for really backing out on people. You better be really known for wilding out. You better be really known for pulling up to people's addies. If you're mentioning addies, like, this shit better be you, or you don't matter to nobody who really matters, which is people like me. The rest of y'all don't matter. I don't know. Like, y'all. What? For people who don't know me, my Instagram is I Hate Coronas. I think all my social media pretty much is I Hate Coronas. Again, all of that you can get to from the Instagram, because the Instagram has a link to my damn website, and then everything just comes the fuck up. Because the SoundCloud has all my freestyles where I will do 40 and 50 bars continuously, ridiculously, amazingly. And then, of course, I have like the regular title, the industry type shit available too. And yeah, I don't know. But this had to be done because y'all are losing y'all fucking minds. One. For me like no disrespect will never mean that. It's my feet at the range to intervene that. You can't live with my thoughts, no realize you can call this shit paranoia. If you need a ride, see the